Welcome to the Scandinavian Mind podcast, our weekly show about how technology is changing the creative industries. Today on the program, inside Stockholm Beauty Week. Last Tuesday, the biannual beauty event for industry and consumers was held at Berns Hotel in Stockholm. We were there, and today we will share our impressions as well as hear from some of the participants, including Gilda Liljeblad, product manager at Gilda Liljeblad, Ranjith Ravichandran, founder of Eylacure, and his colleague Petter Sivlér, and Carl Helgesson, CEO of Mason. My name is Konrad Olsson, editor-in-chief and founder of Scandinavian Mind, and I'm here with my dear colleague, our senior editor and resident beauty expert, Johan Magnusson. How are you, Johan?
I'm good. I'm a bit exhausted after this week, I have to say. It was intense. It was 7 hours there at the venue, and but a lot of impressions and great networking and a lot of new stuff.
Well, you are a senior citizen at these events. You know them in and out, and you know all the people there. I was mainly joining as a spectator, but I gotta say, for the few hours I was there, I was also exhausted. It was very intense, very very crammed. There were a lot of brands, a lot of industry insiders present at this event. But also a jolt of energy. What was your impressions overall?
It was crowded, I have to say, and it doesn't matter what venue they're at. This is their 11th year running, and it's a very popular event. So their reputation has grown over the years. So we also see people coming from outside of Stockholm to join. Regarding the event, I was, as always, they had 80 exhibitors, and as always, it was a great mix. So you don't have to experience all 80 of them. But you also need to take the opportunity, of course, to network. It's not only to see the new brands or new technologies or revisit familiar brands, but also to meet up with industry insiders, trade organizations, media from other countries, and
Well, speaking of trade organizations, I know we met a few of them, representatives from the Swedish Cosmetics, Toiletries and Detergents Association. I love that name, as well as the Swedish National Organization for Skin Therapists. So there are a few of these organizations present. They have a little bit of a different take or different role to play. Can you give us any kind of overview sense of what's happening in the industry after talking to these the representatives?
The main word for them, I think, or the main theme that they're working on right now, as for the last few years, is of course legislation, and both nationally to do lobbying for politicians in order to, for instance, raise the value of being a skin therapist, for instance. But it can also be about the EU level, so that our national regulation matches with other countries, and we also had similar trade organizations from other countries, and for them it was a great opportunity to network on site as well. So they have a completely different perspective, and of course mainly legislation, and that's why it's interesting to hear their perspective. And I think we will get back to them because it's an important part of the industry. They often hear about coming technologies or science long ahead of when we write about it or our media colleagues write about it, because they're quite into, of course, science and the new technologies.
Yeah, I think there's kind of like a disconnect or an interesting polarization going on, I think, in the beauty industry, where it's kind of it's regulated from a kind of a chemical point of view. I was fascinated to hear from representatives from the Swedish Cosmetics, Toiletries and Detergents Association that they are sitting in the same office as the guys working with spray cans and other trade organizations working with chemicals and the painting industry and so forth. So it's very sort of serious business in that sense. on the other side, the beauty industry, and Helene Westberg, the CEO of the Swedish National Organization for Skin Therapists, she pointed this out, that the beauty industry is fairly new industry after all. I mean, it's really grown big the past, maybe 15 or 20 years or so, and that's why they're calling for kind of raising the bar in terms of who can be called a skin therapist, for instance, and that's not really regulated as much today. I find that sort of very fascinating.
Yeah, completely agree. That's why it's so interesting to speak to them.
But of course, we were also there to talk to several of the brands. You mentioned 80 brands present. Before we go into the interviews, can you paint a picture of who's exhibiting at Stockholm Beauty Week? It's quite a diverse mix of types of brands, ranging from skincare and makeup and so forth.
Yeah, and the visitors, there are so many visitors. So of course, they don't have just a beauty interest. So they might be interested in, say, yoga dresses. So we have yoga wear exhibitors present, and many different kinds of exhibitors. But in general, it's a focus on beauty, of course. A lot of treatments. Salon treatments that you were able to try on site, and what's specific is also, or what makes this event stands out is, of course, it's a huge meeting point. So as mentioned, we have the trade organizations, we have media, but you also have students, like skin therapist students. When you were there, we saw almost an entire room filled with 20-something about to be skin therapists.
It was crazy.
And they're of course buying a lot of stuff. So you see all the exhibitors with special offers only for the day. But in general, as mentioned, a beauty focus. It's a great way for foreign brands to launch on the Swedish market, because they get great visibility from the media and end consumers. And it's also fun to see, which we will hear later on in the interviews, that it's also an opportunity for new brands and new technologies, that it's not only like the bigger brands and bigger players present.
Well, just a note to touch on the kind of international side of the event, and you've been visiting many of these events in the past. I saw representatives from Finnish brands, people from Norway. How international is this event, would you say?
Around 10 foreign brands, foreign countries represented, and that's quite average for this event. So from 10 different countries.
All right, so let's get into it. Our first interview is with Benjamin Liljeblad. He's the production manager of Gilda Liljeblad. Can you set this up for us, Johan? Why are we talking to Gilda Liljeblad? I think that was a very interesting story.
Yeah, they're a front runner, to say the least. It's founded by Sweden's, I think, biggest school for skin therapists. So this is their own line, and it's been around for, I don't know, many years. And they revamped the brand with new packaging and renovated formulations, I think 3 years ago. And they are science backed, and they're quite reliable. When you speak to them, they don't launch products just for the product being launched, and science backed, and great ingredients, great formulations. And I've tried the products, and they work very well.
All right, let's get into it. Here now, Benjamin Liljeblad of Gilda Liljeblad.
You've been around as a brand since the 80s, and you had a revamp a few years ago. So what's the brand today?
So essentially, we've been around since the 80s, and we've been in a few different ways over the year, but we were always getting a lot of really positive feedback on how the products were performing on the skin. But sometimes people thought that the packaging was a little bit, let's call it basic or less attractive, so to say. And we had an opportunity to redo the whole range about 3 years ago, and we launched it as Gilda Liljeblad with a lot of the same formulations actually as previously. One of our original products has actually been with us since 1988, so it's been around for a while and it's still actually our biggest seller. And we launched some new products as well to go with that to make sure that we had a complete range that really delivered key results for skin health.
You mentioned it before, how you want to stand out as a brand with using science-backed results for the end consumer.
Exactly, because I mean, at the end of the day, we all fall to this as consumers, that we can pick up a product and if the packaging is beautiful and the texture is lovely and it smells amazing when you put it on the back of your hand, you can definitely buy this product. But you're not going to repurchase that product if it doesn't make any sort of difference in how your skin is behaving or helps to regulate certain functions or normalize them, if you will. And that's why it's so essential for us that the products that we produce, that they actually deliver a result. And we come from a skin therapist or an esthetician background, so this is a vital component to who we are as a brand. And that's also, for example, when you today, Johan, asked me if we had any news. We only bring out new products to the market if we really have something that we think is outstanding and that really sets itself apart from the competition. And that means that some years we don't have news, even though it may be great to have something new to talk about. But then we focus on back to the core, like what does your skin need? It needs this vitamins, it needs this hydration, it needs to prevent moisture loss from the skin. You need antioxidants for protection, and of course you need sun protection as well.
And you have such a good, you're such good with the ingredients and how it acts on the skin, but we all have the trendy ingredients now. Can you share anything on what we will see next year?
Yes, I think moving forward, it will, and I mean, we've seen this trend for a few years, like active ingredients that have science to back them up has become really popular. When I trained to be an esthetician in 2009, everything was about natural and organic. And I mean, that's still very much a thing within the beauty sphere, but now people understand that, okay, it's not whether it's natural or whether it's synthetically produced that matters. It's actually how the molecule functions within the skin. So consumers are getting really, really savvy. So we've been talking a lot about the actives, like your niacinamide, your vitamin A, your vitamin E's, your retinols, etc. And what we see now is that people are talking more and more about how to care for the barrier of the skin, how to support the functions within the skin. So we notice a big change that people are interested in, like the more niche ingredients, like the specific peptides, for example, or all the anti-inflammatory botanicals that help to support the structure of the skin and help to reduce inflammation. And I mean, when we have less inflammation in the skin, it tends to be more uniform in color. So that's really what we see it going towards.
How is it today here at the event, and why is it important for you to be here?
So for us, it's a great opportunity to meet a lot of consumers that may not naturally go and visit our salons or our resellers. And it's a great opportunity for us to speak with them about our products and to offer them to learn more about who we are. And that's really the main reason why we're here. It's a great buzz. There's so much people, and it's really high and low. Like, it's people who are really into specific type of beauty products. You got your people who are really into nails. There are loads of people with tan, but also all of these people who like a more natural, less dramatic approach to beauty, let's say.
All right, that was Benjamin Liljeblad, product manager at Gilda Liljeblad. Our second interview is with brand Eylacure. I think this is very fascinating, on the tech side. You're speaking with Ranjith and Petter. Talk about why this is so interesting, Johan.
I mentioned there's room at this event for new brands and new technologies. This is a brand new brand, and it derives from studies at a university in Sweden, and it's focusing on bond building. So around 10 years ago, we saw the breakthrough for the bond building technology thanks to Olaplex, and they are using two different kind of molecules, while this startup, they use 20. So they've come up with a brand new technology in order to Yeah. When you've bleached your hair, for instance, which is very popular here in the Nordic region, it's a great thing to add after for the damaged hair. And it was a great conversation.
All right, here now Ranjith and Petter from Eylacure.
What's the story behind the first and the second product? It's from based university studies, yeah.
Yeah, so it was actually me and my colleague Morten. We were working with medicine and we started a medical company. Ranjith was still doing his PhD, and he came back when he only had a few months left on his PhD, and he said that he wants to start a medical company. And I said, please don't. It's so much struggle to get out on the market, and with your knowledge, there is so much you can do within cosmetics.
Correct. And then like we have been iterating different ideas about like what's the best thing that we can do for hair with my studies in my PhD, and also like what's the best way to treat the hair in a better way. And then we stumbled upon different products in the market, and then we thought we could do better.
I think it's an understatement to say that you stumble on different things. We were actually racing up because Ranjith have a doctor's degree on linking biological molecules to each other, and I was asking him, can't you use your knowledge to link protein permanently to hair? And he was like, well, that's super simple. And I was like, what did you tell me? And he was like, it's super simple. And then we went to the lab, and I think 2 days later we had the first prototype that we were trying on my fiance's hair, and she has been addicted to it since then.
Your first and best customer. We all know about Olaplex, and it's a huge consumer demand for bond building, but how do you stand out?
I mean, we stand out in so many different ways from Olaplex. First of all, like we have a treatment that's very, very fast. There is no waiting time in our treatments. And secondly, like we have a product that has like more than 20 binding points per molecule. So like Olaplex has like 2 binding points. So and also like in a way, like the way it's been treated to the hair as well, the way it links to the hair, the way like how it's been going into the hair. First of all, I mean, like we have a very, very natural based molecule based on protein, which is different from what Olaplex has. And also like so from basic perspective to treatment perspective, we are a whole new different style of bond building when compared to Olaplex.
I would like to add that the 2 main things I would say is, one, that our molecule will behave a lot more like hair when it's inside the hair, and the second thing is that Olaplex molecule, it reacts to damages to the hair directly in contact. And our reacts first when you use the brush, so it can really go into the damages inside the hair, and first when you go with the brush over, it will actually permanently link to the hair, so we get a much more controlled reaction. So we have got very positive feedback from our customers, especially because of that.
The first product you launched was a brush, and now in a month or so we will see a spray launching. And yeah, what's the reason for the new launch, and how do they work together?
So we had from the beginning a product that you had to mix yourself. So it was the brush in combination with the protein powder that you had to mix with the activator and water. And we knew from the beginning that it would be a lot better if it's something that you can just take from the shelf and use directly on your hair. But it was extremely hard to manage to get the good formulation that actually works. And we managed that now, and we are very pleased with the results.
Yeah. Also to add on that, I mean, like for example, we have been using natural molecules since the beginning, and using natural molecule also comes with some advantages and some disadvantages. And I mean, we have been researching for a number of years to come with natural molecule that doesn't smell by storing for a longer time, and also like to solve the issue, that's easy to use pretty much.
You've also received investment from Lyko, and you've teamed up with them as a retailer. You're going into South Korea. What are your plans?
So our plans is to be able to reach out to all the girls and women around the world, and boys and guys for that part also, that have issues with their hair or that just want to get better hair quality. So we are going hard worldwide right now.
Yeah. And the plan is like in Sweden, Norway and Finland, we're going live with the Lyko in August. And in Korea, we are looking forward. I mean, we have a local partner right now signed up already, and we are looking forward to getting Hyundai-based department stores as a resellers for us in South Korea as soon as possible.
Lastly, the future of bond building. What are the next steps here? Will it continue to be as popular and important for the industry?
Yeah, I would say that always when you have products that are protected by patents, you will have a few companies that will be dominating the scene. And I think that the concept of actually having something that repairs the hair and not only temporary cover damages is the future. But I think the scene will be kind of blocked for a few years with companies like us and Olaplex and K18. But I really think that the more organic molecules will take a bigger place, and I think that's what gives the customers the best results also.
I mean, of course, the hair industry is not going to compromise anywhere. People are still going to bleach their hair, still going to color their hair. Still, there are like lots of environmental factors affects the hair quality and so on. So as long as we have these situations around us, I mean, bond building is important, and Eylacure is also very important as well.
Yeah, you mentioned organic. Is it more trickier to use organic ingredients in bond building?
I would say not. Of course, a synthetic thing is very cheap to produce. So if you look on a synthetic molecule, first, like Ranjith says, they have limited binding points. So if you look on Olaplex, you have 2 points where the molecule can bind to damages. And since we have over 20 points, we can get a stronger bind to the hair structure. So that's a big benefit. And the second thing is that by using organic molecules, it will act more like hair, and you don't have the risk of getting a bristle hair over time, which some people complain about.
Yeah, I mean, for example, hair is a protein and it's a natural molecule. And where Eylacure stands is like we have a natural molecule, like a protein, to repair a protein in the hair. So that's where we stand.
All right, that was Ranjith and Petter from Eylacure, and now on to our last interview. It's a bit of a longer one. I should note also that you did actually interview women at this show, but we had some issues with the recording. So those interviews, I'm sorry, we realized just when we were recording this intro now that there was some trouble with those recordings. But it's a guys only beauty podcast this week.
Yeah. A sign of the times.
Sorry about that. Anyways, but we have some great talks. The last one with Carl Helgesson is the CEO of Rancona Amazon. Describe Rancona for the listeners.
He was one of many speakers at the event, which we haven't mentioned. So it's also a talks program, which we at Scandinavian Mind liked quite a lot. So I attended several different talks. He was one of them. He's been working with Amazon for over a decade. He's one of the most sought-after experts for Amazon. And he's the founder of Rancona Amazon.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, he has great contact with Amazon. So it's everything is in order.
I didn't catch that. I'm sorry. Rank on Amazon, of course. Rancona Amazon. Okay.
Yeah, and he spoke about business opportunities, of course, for many different industries, and the beauty industry in particular, when it comes to Amazon, and the do's and don'ts and strategies if you're not yet present. We, of course, saw Amazon launch the other year in Sweden, and then, of course, also the Nordic region through Sweden. And it's quite an opportunity, and he shares quite interesting numbers, which makes me way more, curious. I wouldn't say optimistic, but because Amazon is a huge problem when it comes to the environment and such. But curious about business opportunities for Amazon.
Well, it's a great opportunity for us to dive into sort of beauty retail, and something we will come back to for sure, especially in our upcoming Beauty Innovations newsletter. So here now, Carl Helgesson, CEO of Rank on Amazon.
You just took the stage here at the Stockholm Beauty Week. What did you talk about?
Today I talked about how you succeed on Amazon, a short Amazon crash course, and also from the beauty brand's perspective, what's the do's and don'ts when it comes to selling your beauty product on Amazon.
And which are they, and what are your key takeaways from being on stage?
So the key takeaways I would say is number one is to do Amazon the Amazon way. There is so many brands today that treats Amazon like just any other sales channel or platform or marketplace. Amazon is unique, so you really need to adapt. So that's number one. Number two is your position. You have to rank on Amazon, hence our company name, Rank on Amazon. And the reason for that is today, from all the purchases on Amazon, 80% comes from a product-related search. And especially the big brands are missing out on this because nowadays for the Amazon customer, the brand is not as important anymore. But if I want to buy vitamin C serum and I want to buy it from Estée Lauder, for example, I will not write Estée Lauder. I will write vitamin C serum. So if Estée Lauder doesn't show up on page 1 or maybe page 2 or maybe page 3, they won't sell. The majority will buy something else. So ranking on your main keywords and working with the SEO is super important. So I would say that. And the third, let me see, a third one is the inventory. Make sure if you sell on Amazon and you sell well, don't sell out. I see so many selling well and then they sell out and it takes months for them to restock, and they can't take back the lost position because you drop in rank when you sell out. On the other hand, you don't want to sit on with too much products in stock because after 365 days, you get a pretty hefty penalty, economical penalty from Amazon called long-term storage fees, and that can heavily affect you in a negative way from a financial standpoint. So that I would say is my three, of everything I talked about, the three most important ones.
Is the beauty industry better or worse on Amazon compared to similar industries? And you also shared some interesting numbers on market share for Amazon in the US for the beauty industry. What can you say?
Yeah, so Amazon today in general have more than 50% of all e-commerce sales online. I mean, they take, so you can say like this, for every dollar spent online in the US, 50 cents comes from Amazon directly. The same number in Germany is about 40-45%. In UK, it's 30 to 35%. Of course, it's the same within the beauty industry. And Bloomberg released a number from 2022 that Amazon has more than 36% of all beauty products sold globally comes from Amazon. So it's, if you sell beauty products today and you want to sell internationally, you have to be on Amazon because that's where the customers are and looking and buying.
Is that share for online or in total?
Sorry, that's for online. Online, yes.
If we've seen the launch of Amazon in Sweden and then hence the Nordics. How has it been since the launch? We haven't heard that much about them, or?
No, so Amazon does it for them it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So it's interesting. I mean, I don't think Amazon has spent one single dollar or Swedish crown on marketing the marketplace in Sweden. However, as you probably remember, and everybody does, all their weird translation in the beginning, of course, gave them tons of PR. I know that Amazon Sweden is very satisfied with the results so far. If you look on the amount of visits on Amazon nowadays, it's between 11 and 17 million visits on Amazon per month on Amazon Sweden. So it's definitely growing. I would say it's not close to, of course, the other marketplaces where Amazon is more established since many, many years, like Amazon Germany or France, for example. So my advice is always for everybody, if you start selling on Amazon, start on Amazon Sweden because it's very easy to get on page 1 for the most important keywords. And since Amazon is growing every day, you will be top on the mountain when Amazon really takes off in Sweden. But the big money on Amazon, if you want to sell, is of course on the other Amazon marketplaces like USA, UK, Germany, Spain, wherever outside Sweden.
Can you share any Amazon trends for 2023? What's the first that comes in your mind?
The first that comes in mind is Amazon's own influencers. And also they are launching actually I'm a little bit dizzy here after all my pollen medicine, but so I don't have it in my head. But Amazon has launched a new variant of TikTok almost, where Amazon influencers is showing products and you can buy directly from the live videos or from the videos. So that's probably the biggest growing trend on Amazon. Another growing trend on Amazon, even within the beauty industry, is that a lot of manufacturers starts seeing Amazon as an interesting sales channels. So they produce products for different brands and distributors today, but they're also starting to do their own private labels to sell on Amazon to get a new revenue stream.
Is that big in the Nordics as well yet, or is it mainly in the US? Or?
I would say it's coming to the Nordics. We're actually helping 2 manufacturers today. So one of these manufacturers is selling for 500 million Swedish crowns, and 99.9% of that comes from a big Swedish furniture brand, as you probably know which one I talk about. But they also understand if that brand stopped calling them, they will go bankruptcy, right? So they were looking at different ways to get more sales channels, and they saw Amazon. So they are actually doing a private label of this sort of same type product to sell on globally on this big chain. They are now selling on Amazon under their own brand name, which is super interesting. So now they have found another way to reuse almost the same type of product, but totally different brand name, a private label for them on Amazon, USA and Europe.
What does this mean for other industry players when we see this development? Of course, increased competition and...
Yeah, I would say, increased competition is of course one thing, but it also opens up, of course, opportunities. Because if you look today, 60% of all the sales on Amazon nowadays come from small, unknown brands, mostly private labels. And I would say, yeah, of course, it's increased competition, but the reason those guys are doing so well is because they do Amazon right. So if I would be a brand today, I would not be afraid of this competition, because if I decide to do Amazon right, I will take a piece of the pie. And another interesting metric too is when I started selling on Amazon back in 2012, almost no one succeeded on Amazon with the term succeeded of selling more than $1 million in 12 months. So Amazon started a program back then called the $1 million seller program. And it was just a fraction of all sellers who actually sold for more than $1 million in 12 months. So they got invited to Amazon headquarters. So I was there for many times with my own Amazon brands because I succeeded selling for more than $1 million in 12 months. However, they had to shut down that in 2018, for suddenly 10% of all Amazon sellers sold for more than $1 million. 2019, the same number was 19%. And from 2020, more than 25% of all sellers on Amazon are selling for more than $1 million in 12 months. So yes, the competition has increased. However, the amount of sellers actually succeeding has increased as well. So once again, if you do Amazon right, you have so great opportunities. So I wouldn't dare I wouldn't be afraid of the competition is probably the right way to say.
You mentioned in the beauty brand 60%. What's the reason for this number, you think, that they're so successful?
Amazon, 36% was the Bloomberg showing the numbers. Yeah. I think it's because Amazon is, for the Amazon consumer, it's so convenient. You have also the subscribe and save program on Amazon, which means I can buy my skincare product and I love this product, so I will just keep Amazon, sign up for 12 months or 7 months or whatever, and Amazon will just ship it to me once a month. I don't even have to go in. And then of course you have the free shipping and the quick shipping. If you're living in big cities, you probably will have your product within everything from 4 to maximum 48 hours, which is with Amazon. So it's convenient, it's fast, it's free shipping. If you have your products in the Prime program, and all that, of course, is the foundation to Amazon's success. Another thing that makes Amazon popular is that the end consumer knows that Amazon got my back. If there's something at least slightest wrong with my product, or I didn't like it, or whatever, Amazon, it's easy to return. Amazon gives my money back or give me a new product. So there you have the reasons why Amazon is succeeding so well.
And you mentioned the 15% is the share that Amazon takes. Yet we don't see that many, or of course many beauty brands on Amazon, but not as many as we might expect. What's the reason for that, you think? Are they afraid of the unknown, or?
I think some is probably. I think also since Amazon launched in Sweden, a lot of Nordic companies were very afraid, more competition, they will steal from traffic and sales from my own web store or from other marketplaces. But I think number one, you shouldn't see it as a competition. You should see Amazon as a extra sales channel for you, right? But so I think so one of the reasons, of course, some people are afraid, but I think the biggest reason we don't see so many Nordic brands on Amazon is because people doesn't know so much about Amazon, how you do Amazon. And I think that's the biggest reason we don't see so many brands on Amazon, which of course we want to help. And so that's what we are doing every day, helping brands to succeed on Amazon globally.
And lastly, where's a good way to start if you're new to it?
So it depends how you want to do it. I mean, there's two ways to do it. You can do it yourself in-house, but if you do that, make sure you have the right knowledge and get the competence, because as I said initially, Amazon is about doing Amazon right and doing it right from the beginning. So don't start Amazon without knowledge and do the trial and error, because it won't work and it will just damage you in the long term. So get the knowledge, I would say, education. If you don't want to do it yourself, I mean, there is a lot of good Amazon agencies. I mean, we are one of them. There is other good agencies in Sweden and the Nordics, and I'm happy to say that we have a very friendly and collegial environment, us agencies in between. So I like that, and there's a lot of good people out there ready to help you launch on Amazon.
Any other insights you want to share?
I think the most important is that you actually do it, because Amazon, I mean, I've been selling on Amazon since 2011, and there's an old saying that when is the best time to grow a tree, to plant the seed? Well, that was 100 years ago, right? When is the second best time to start growing that tree? Well, that's today. Yeah. So don't hesitate, because Amazon is a train. It's already running. It's not gonna sit and wait for you. So you have to jump on and do it. The quicker you do it, the faster you can build up your position, because the competition, as we said, are increasing. So if you can jump on now and start now, you will be so ahead of the people starting 5 months from now. So that's my last tip.
All right, that was Carl Helgesson, CEO of Rancona Mason, or Rank on Amazon, as you can read it out. Johan, thank you so much for sharing your impressions from Stockholm Beauty Week this week. We have a kind of a beauty streak here at the podcast. We're going to do 3 episodes of beauty conversations, and that is, of course, related to the launch of our upcoming Insights newsletter, Beauty Innovation, which we are launching in mid-June. How are you feeling, Johan? Now it's just a few weeks away. We're soon going to launch this thing we've been working on for so long.
It's super exciting. I'm very curious to hear what the recipients will think about it. And we receive great feedback now before launching it. But of course, it's a completely different thing when people take part of it.
Well, it's clear that the interest is high. We get a lot of sign-ups for early access. If you as a listener wanted to get early access, visit scandinavianmind.com/beauty innovation. So every week from the launch mid-June, we will deliver trend reports, news from both the world and the Nordics, as well as comment and analysis of everything beauty innovation. All right, this has been the Scandinavian Mind podcast with me, Konrad Olsson, and Johan Magnusson. Don't forget to sign up to our regular newsletter as well. Visit scandinavianmind.com/newsletter not to miss out on any of our upcoming content and events. And of course, issue 4, our print magazine, still around. Go to scandinavianmind.com and find the appropriate link to order your copy. All right, until next week, goodbye.
Bye.